I'm going to begin by asking if you were aware of the original novel before getting involved in this project, and if not, did you go back and read it?
I did. I wasn't aware when I first got the script, and I went back and obviously read it. I think I met with Alex first, and then I went and read the book. And yeah, I mean, I was really pleased. Obviously, I loved the book. The book's fantastic, but I was also really pleased by how it compared to the adaptation. And, I think that there has been, obviously stuff has to get cut and things have been moved around, but I think to retain the core elements of like it being a very funny book and also a very dark and potentially very moving book, there was what I was looking to see that was all there, and it was. So yeah, I mean, I think that, and what I was most pleased about was obviously meeting Joe Hill, and he's so pleased with the adaptation in the film, so that makes me feel good.
I was wondering as well, I mean, you're obviously no stranger to the pressure that comes with adapting a cult classic book onto the big screen. Do you feel like you're almost immune to that sort of pressure now? Was getting involved in a project that has got a bit, because this book has got quite a big, very popular novel. Is that just like water for ducks back now?
Yeah, I really honestly don't think about it, and I don't mean to sound dismissive in any way, but it's just not something that factors into like thinking about that. At no point is going to be helpful during filming. There is no part of me that doesn't want to do the best possible job that I can, and same for Alex and Duno and everyone. So thinking that there's loads of people out there who really want us to do a good job is, I think if anything, you feel supported rather than worried about how they're going to react.
And do you like having literature as a kind of a good reference point aside from the screenplay, or can it sometimes be a bit overbearing, almost so much to take in?
Well, I mean, it's great as a sort of a piece of as a resource of finding out more about your character, because it's all there, and you can sort of go back and examine any moment in the script and work out, sort of where that corresponds in the book. But you also it's useful to do it sort of at the start, I think, and then kind of leave it and just go off the script, because you don't really want to be the guy kind of coming up on set being like, well, in the book this doesn't happen like that, and that could get annoying quite quickly.
Yeah. And I was wondering, so I've read that you make a playlist for every movie that I was just wondering what sort of songs sort of made up the playlist when you were preparing for Horns.
On this, there was some Megadeth, Sweating Bullets was on there, because I love that song so much, and there was some band called A Place to Bury Strangers, which I don't think is like music for everyone that everyone will love, but it's very representative of what I felt Ig's world sounded like in his head at the beginning of the movie. But then there was also stuff like kind of Perfume Genius and Radiohead, other things I can remember, and actually a song by The Shivers, which ended up on the soundtrack, which I was very pleased about.
And I mean, because this is one of your sort of darker pictures you've made. I was wondering, I mean, it's probably it's definitely the most we've probably heard you swear, at least in the movie.
50 times.
Well, Ig must have been a character that was so fun to sort of get your teeth into.
Absolutely. No, when I read it, I was just like, this is... But it's wonderful because it's so multifaceted, because it has all this darkness and this intensity and this emotional core, but it is also very funny and kind of light at times as well. And I mean, I was very, very excited to get a chance to play somebody this interesting and charismatic and kind of troubled. Yeah.
One of my favourite aspects of it is that we always know he's innocent, and then usually in films of this ilk, there's always a bit of ambiguity.
Yeah.
But in this case, I actually really like the fact that we just know right from the offset. Yeah. What do you think that brings to the kind of the mood of the piece?
Well, I think that immediately puts you on his side, and I think it's quite important because he does so much bad stuff in the movie that, I mean, if there was a slight, you might really go off him. You might really not. I think it's important that you are always supporting him, even if you don't approve of what he's doing in the moment. You want him to come good. Whereas I think if there's a chance, I think it gets the audience sort of on his side a bit before he does all the terrible things he's about to do, which I think is possibly important.
Yeah. And as for the horns themselves, were they CGI or were they prosthetic?
They're prosthetic.
Oh, yeah, so it must be. So at the end of the day, was it sort of got keys, wallet, phone, horns?
Oh, still on. Damn it. Yeah, there were definitely. I could have. That's the thing. By the end of the day, sometimes I was so comfortable in them, I probably could have gone home in them. In fact, I did ask to on Halloween when we made it, but I realised then that I would like get home and not be able to take them off, and then I'd be stuck. But they were amazing. The guys who did my makeup were Mike McCarthy and Mike Fields, are their names. Jesus, if the final makeups in the film, the sort of the bigger stuff is, if you were told they'd done that in 4 or 5 hours, that would be, impressive. But they did it in 2 hours. I mean, they're ridiculously talented and beautiful to. Yeah.
And because I was speaking to Liam Neeson earlier this year, and he said that he likes to take one souvenir from every movie with him. And I was wondering if you ever sort of take props or any bits of clothing home with you to to remember the experience by.
Yeah, I mean, I got the jacket on this film. The leather jacket he wears, I just think is like that leather jacket is awesome. It's so good. It's got this really cool sort of like snake, but also horns design on the back. I love it. It doesn't, it's quite a statement to wear out, but I don't care.
Do you wear it out at all?
Oh yeah, no, I do.
And also, I was wondering. I mean, you've been sort of confirmed for Now You See Me 2. Is that right?
Yeah, I can't really say too much about this. I don't want to, just in case I don't know what I'm allowed to say or not. So I'm going to try and plead the fifth or the second. Which one's silence? Fifth.
Well, how about Frankenstein? Is that one you can talk about briefly?
Talk about that a lot, absolutely.
I was just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about that and how excited you are for that release, because it looks really brilliant.
It's I am excited. I'm really excited for people to see it. It's an adventure of a movie. It's going to be crazy. Particularly, I particularly actually love the first half of the movie when I'm really, I always am going to prefer the part of the movie when I look less like myself now, and which is very much the first part of this movie. But yeah, I'm really pleased with it. I think it's in really good shape. I've seen a very early version of it, but I think it's going to just get stronger and stronger from here. So I'm excited for people to see it.
And in terms of things that you definitely can't talk about, is obviously I have read that you visited the Star Wars set recently.
Yeah, really can't.
And I don't expect you to talk about anything that you saw itself, but how sort of impressed were you and how excited are you about that franchise?
I'm really impressed and excited, not only by the fact that it felt very similar to Potter in terms of the atmosphere they have on set. And that's, a lot of the same crew as were on Potter are doing the film, but it's also just, J.J. Abrams and the way he seems to set the tone is everyone just like sings his praise, like everyone loves working for him and with him, and it's just a really happy set, which is lovely to walk onto such a big movie. And because Potter was always very happy, but you go on some other big film sets and you're like, oh, everyone just wants to get out of here, and it's so it was really nice to see that. And yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be pretty spectacular. I was lucky enough to have a conversation with Harrison Ford, and his excitement about these films spoke volumes to me about, like, if this guy who has seen and heard it all about Star Wars over the course of his life is so excited about these, I feel like it's going to be very special.
Right, and you've been so busy recently. Any chance of a holiday? You seem like you deserve one.
I had one. A couple. I got back maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I had like 2 whole weeks off on a beach. Did nothing. It was great.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And here you are back in hotels. You're speaking to people like me.
But you've got to have both.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you again.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.